going to be talking about employee relations. Employee relations is concerned with the contractual, emotional, physical, and practical relationships between employer and employee. Essentially, it ties the relationship between the employer and the employee and helps them feel connected and hopefully perform at their employee relation program ensures that all employees are treated fairly, helps to strengthen relationships between employee and managers, and helps to mediate any problems that may surface between them. The importance of employee relations. Employees who get along with their manager and enjoy work rather than dreading it have a better overall work experience. Happy and satisfied employees work harder, produce better work, and ultimately keep the customers happy, and that in return is what keeps the business thriving. A few ways that employers can maintain positive relationships with their employees. The first would be open communication. In any relationship, communication is critical. Employees spend the majority of their days at work, so it is important that they feel comfortable with their manager to be able to go to them with any issues and that they feel fulfilled within their tasks. Important as a manager that you let your team also know that you are there to talk about their work or anything else that they may need, and that you are as transparent with them as possible about what you need in return from them as well. So even if it's through surveys or maybe bi-weekly check-ins with your employees, just to communicate with them maybe any issues or concerns that are arising will be helpful in the long run. It's important that you engage your employees and let them share their thoughts anonymously in a safe environment. Second, it is important that you show appreciation and gratitude to your employees. Good work reinforced will inspire and motivate them to keep it up. It's important that you create goals and action plans for employee recognition, and that you recognize the actions, behaviors, approaches, and accomplishments that you know will make your organization more productive and efficient. Employee recognition, fairness, clarity, and consistency are critical. People need to see that each person who makes the same or a similar contribution has an equal likelihood of also receiving recognition for their efforts. Along with that, it is important that you are specific about why the individual is receiving the recognition. The purpose of feedback is to reinforce what you would like to see the employee to do more of, and that it goes the same for employee recognition. Employee recognition is one of the most powerful forms of feedback that you can provide to your employee. For example, I know at my previous company we had a recognition program called Hall of Fame, and through that, at any time on our online database, you could submit a form to recognize an employee or a manager who has maybe done a certain act that was beneficial for the company, or acted a certain way in a situation, or has just stood out in any way. And quarterly, we would host a ceremony in the cafeteria where we honored these employees, and we have received really good feedback from this recognition. It would also to be providing constant feedback, offering frequent feedback to your employees on their great work, and constructive criticism on what they can improve is essential in nurturing a positive relationship with your team. Employees want this feedback. They want to learn and grow so that they can improve. So providing them with tips and guidance that they need to get there will be appreciated. Fourth would be to invest in your employees. Showing your employees that you care about them as people and not just as 9-to-5 workers is really important. So expressing that their fulfillment is important to you on a professional and personal level will help gain their respect and keep them engaged. Ways that you can show your employees you care would maybe include allowing the option of paid time off to volunteer, supporting professional development initiatives, and allowing them to pursue side projects that are interesting to them. This would be to collect ideas from the team. You want employees to feel like they are part of the team and part of the decision-making process. It's important that you ask employees to submit their ideas, or at least make it known that their ideas are always welcome, and that suggestions for new initiatives will always be considered and are suggested. However, it's important that you make sure that these ideas are actually implemented or at least considered and action is taken. So, with all of that, while there are many things that a manager can do, there are also things that managers can stop doing that may improve their employee relations. Stop micromanaging. When a leader micromanages instead of trusting their team and in giving their employers autonomy, the employee risks becoming disengaged, and as a result, the quality of their work will suffer. Guidance and feedback, as I mentioned, are always important and keep employee relations positive, but watching employees' every move and hovering over them or offering too much unsolicited advice will actually begin to make employees doubt themselves, and it actually will lead to a more tense relationship. While it may seem obvious, it would be to not play favorites. It creates tension between colleagues, and this can lead to employee disengagement. It's important to treat everyone in your team with equal respect if you want to earn the same respect back. Important that an individual doesn't break their colleagues' trust. If a team member has shared something with you, it's important that you keep it to yourself only. If the person sitting next to you has expressed displeasure over anything, it's important to not disclose it to your boss or others. And also, it's important to avoid any controversial topics at the workplace, avoiding things like politics, as it can just lead to more problems and an unwelcome culture. So to avoid being selfish at work, it's important that you try to help others, even if the problem may not be directly related to you. Don't ignore it. It's important that you try to understand each other's individual problems and try your best to sort it out. Your team members will respect you and discuss issues more freely in the future if they know they can trust you and they can come to you. Efforts must be taken to avoid conflicts at work so that employees can come close to each other, work together, and don't lose their focus. It's important that your employees are cordial with each other, as it will create a healthy and warm environment at the workplace, and that will overall contribute to your company's overall culture. I'm going to briefly talk about some individual qualities in improving employee relations. So the first would be, one needs to be sensible enough to understand that every organization has its own set of policies and it's mandatory for everyone to abide by the rules and regulations. One can't go against the policies no matter how much he or she dislikes them, and it's important that everyone follows them, as this will create transparency and consistency within the workplace. An employee has to be a good communicator for an effective employee relationship. As I mentioned, be transparent in your communication, and if you don't agree with someone, that's okay, but it's important that you handle it in a civil manner, and that will contribute to the overall employee relationship and further relations. Lastly would be to be disciplined at work. It's important that you follow your organization's policies, that you work for yourself and not for others. Your coworkers will see your behavior, and it will create a positive attitude and reflection of yourself if you are doing and taking positive actions despite maybe what others are doing. And this as a whole will integrate into your whole company's culture and create a more positive workforce. In conclusion, employee relations is important because it is essential that employees are comfortable with each other for better focus and concentration, lesser conflicts, and increased productivity.